What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm so excited to be giving you guys an older school video that I used to do so often, and it's been a little while, and I'm really excited to do it again. And this is my 3 looks 1 palette, and this one's going to be featuring my Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette. I was so excited when I saw this drop. I thought it was so beautiful, so interesting, and especially because this is a brand that I've enjoyed their formula in the past, I really had to scoop her up. So of course this is a basic neutrals palette, but there is some intrigue, there's some interest. You have some purpley tones, you have some more warm tone browns, and then you have some straight up neutrals all in the same palette. I love that you have quite a bit of lightness here, at least for my skin tone, all the way to some nice rich depth with that black. So very excited to show you guys my opinions and talk to you guys very closely in on this. So we're gonna do it the same structure as how I used to do these. First, we're gonna go ahead and do the swatches. I'm gonna do my absolute best to make sure that those are aerial swatches, so you will see me swatching them one by one. I will also of course be doing some comparison swatches with all the palettes that I physically own, and then we will jump into the eye tutorials. This is the first eyeshadow look, and as always I will have timestamps down below so that you can jump throughout this video to any particular look or portion that you are interested in. Of course, at the very end I will give you guys my current and final thoughts. I have tried this brand for quite some time now that I feel very confident with those final thoughts, but if you do want to see some thoughts after having this palette for more than a couple of days, I do always do a roundup after I have a handful of palettes to review. So yeah, I think those are all of my disclaimers per usual. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to hit those down below in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So let's go ahead and dive into those swatches. Alrighty guys, so it is time to now begin the swatching portion of today's video. And as I said in the intro, we are going to be showcasing the Cosmic Brushes Neutrals 20 color eyeshadow palette. As always, it always comes with a sleeve that is very identical to the actual packaging on the palette. On the back of the sleeve, we see the ingredients along with warnings that are relevant. We see the shelf life, recyclable, etc. Feel free to screenshot this in case you need this information. And now in the palette, we have, of course, a mirror per usual, and here are the 20 shades that are presented in this palette. We have a variety of shimmers, mattes, and a shifty type color. I'm gonna do what I always do. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, and I'm gonna swatch one by one all of these shades row by row. I will of course speed it up because you don't really need to see me swatching you know, in real time. And then once we've done all of these swatches, I will go ahead and do comparisons to the other palettes that I have from this brand, which honestly is not very many. So this section of the video should be shorter than it usually is. But let's go ahead, zoom out, and let's get to swatching. Alrighty, so I hope that you guys enjoyed those swatches. And yeah, like I said, now it is time to do the comparisons. Like I said, I don't have very many palettes from this brand, so I'm pretty sure I could actually get all of the palettes on the screen. So let me actually try to do that. Okay, so now you can at least see all of the colors. Some of the colors are a little cut off, but these are all of the palettes that I have. I have the Delicious Delights palette, of course the Neutrals palette, and then the Muse palette. So I'm just gonna look over all of these shades to really just see if there's any comparisons. I've already compared these two outer palettes in that video that I showcased the Muse palette. So if you're interested in that, I will try my best to have that link down below. But we're really going to see if there's any shades between these outer two that match this middle one. Okay, straight off the bat, between the Muse and the Neutrals, I'm going to compare this shade, which is neutral, to Haze. So this is neutral, this is Haze. I'm gonna do some more swatches. Neutral, Haze. So as you can see, Haze is a lot cooler and more gray tone, and neutral, honestly, I would say is more of a neutral to kind of golden undertone. If we were gonna compare Haze to another color, let's try Tease from the neutral palette. And even then, once again, it is off. Granted, my skin tone is brown, so it's a little bit harder for you guys to see, but I would say these are the closest two shades in between these two palettes with this shade. So this is Haze from the Muse palette, and this is Tease from the neutral palette. Keeping it going, I think I'm gonna work on finding a comparison to Fig. And just off bat, if I remember correctly, Fig is not what it appears. It appears to be like a brown, but it's like a brownie purple. So I'm still just gonna go ahead and compare it to Delicate, but I think the closest in the neutral palette would be Lust, but even then it's not the same. So I'm gonna swatch Fig, and I'm put that in the middle. Yeah, and as you can see, it definitely has that like purpley undertone. And I'm gonna swatch Delicate in front. And then I'm gonna swatch Lust on the side. Yeah. So as you can see, this is Lust, which is a purple in the neutral palette. This is Delicate, which is a dark brown in the neutrals palette. And this is Fig, which, like I said, it's like a brownie purple situation. So it really doesn't match either of these tones. I would say, to be frank, mixing them both would be how that you would really get, you know, the Fig color. And then if we're just looking at the palettes straight on, honestly, I think those are the only two shades that truly look the same. If I'm looking in the viewfinder, this and this look similar, but they're completely different. So I'm not going to even bother swatching them. So yeah, I would say that that's it for those. And then swatching it between the Delicious Delights, I would say the only two shades that could somewhat arguably call the same is this Buttercream shade and the Icon shade. They're both kind of orangey, mustardy tones. This one is definitely warmer and deeper, but I'm just going to swatch them just so that you guys can see. So once again, this is Icon from the Neutrals palette, and this is Buttercream from the Delicious Delights palette. As you can see, there's a lot more white in this because they wanted this to be a lot more pastel and just, I don't want to say desaturated, but desaturated. And here is the Icon shade, which is a lot darker, warmer, and deeper. So yeah, if you're asking me, is it okay to pick up the Neutrals palette if you're really excited and you have the same collection from Cosmic Brushes as I do? I definitely think it's okay. There's not a lot of dupes, and even things that I think are arguably similar, there's definitely significant difference between them. All right, so that's the end of the swatching portion of this video. Now we're gonna go ahead and dive into the 3 looks, and at the very end, I will give you guys my current thoughts. If you want to see my overall final thoughts, then I would definitely subscribe to my channel, and that will be coming up once I have a good quantity of palettes to review. And if you've been seeing my shopping lately, it won't take very long for me to have that quantity so I can do that review. So I will see you guys in just a second. Hey guys, so like I said in the intro, we're gonna be doing an old-fashioned 3 looks 1 palette. I'm so excited per usual, and we're diving into the Neutrals palette from Cosmic Brushes. I'm sure I already gave you guys all the swatches and everything, so I'm not gonna go too in depth, but as you can see, I already have my first look over here. You knew I had to dive into the mustard. You knew it had to happen. So let's just go ahead, and I'm gonna do some hopefully editing magic, and we're gonna zoom in even closer because this is as close as I can get in with my actual lens, but maybe in the future a better lens is in the cards, but right now this is as good as we gonna get. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start by priming with my eyeshadow primer. I think this is literally the only eyeshadow primer I have in my collection, which is a really cool thing if that's true. I know I have shadow sticks, but I'm pretty sure this is the only actual primer I have left in my collection. At least the only one that I reach for on an everyday basis. This is the About Face eyeshadow primer. And we're just gonna really make sure to work this in, because if you don't, it will show up in the eyeshadow look. It kind of goes on very transparent, so if you still see any of that milky coloring, then you have not rubbed it in fully, and you will see it when you try to put eyeshadow on. First things first, we're gonna go into the shade Icon, which is that mustardy tone. And that I'm really going to work on pressing and then blending out all in this inner eye area. So we're just gonna really pack it into this inner portion of my crease. No, I do not do transition colors or anything like that if you are new to my channel. I am also gonna bring it pretty close in to my inner eye area, and that's just a preference that I've been doing lately. It helps me to really blend my inner tear duct area color that I like to put in there. And this color pretty much blends into my skin tone, which is why I've been obsessed with mustards lately, and that's another reason why I just don't need a transition color. I'm gonna use the exact same brush, and right now I've been low-key obsessed with the structure of the Singe brushes. So I'm just gonna reach for this one again. This is the EO2, and I'm now gonna go into the shade Lust. And I really wanted to see and pull out how much of the purple and how much of the brown is really in this color. So first things first, we're just gonna go ahead and start on this outer V area. I am going to be stretching this color as you see on that other eye, but I like to make sure that a majority of the product is in that outer V area, and then it's slightly blended up. I also like to make sure that you can actually see the color when my crease closes. So I now know that I need to bring this up even more. I'm pretty sure this eyebrow technically is lower than the other one, which is why I always kind of misjudge how high to bring this one. Okay, we're getting there. It's not perfect, but we're getting there. And as you can see, you can still see a very stark, can you see? There's a very stark line between where the eyeshadow ends and where it goes. And this one, it's a lot more smooth. It will be getting there, but I'm very much, let's get the shadow where I want it. I'm also going to take that same brush, same color, and we're going to take her under this eyelash. Also, if you can hear anything in the background, it is thunderstorming right now, so I apologize. And there's also a fungus gnat that is flying, of course, near my face. Nowhere else in this apartment. Right near me while I'm filming, of course. I really hate fungus gnats. I hate them so much. Okay, anyways, now I'm gonna take a clean fluffy brush. This happens to be another Cinch brush. This is their EO3, and I'm gonna start with no additional product, just really working on that outer edge of this color and all over where I just placed that Lust color. Okay, so now that I've kind of really buffed out what was already there, I do tend to take the same big fluffy brush. I tap very lightly and then just let go of some of that excess. And then we're gonna just build that way. Now, apparently my camera stopped focusing on me, so I don't know if you guys saw that whole build, but I'm feeling like it's a lot more on the nose of how my other eye was at this step. Now, if you can see, this step is definitely darker, or this eye is definitely darker, and that is because I added a little bit of the black. So then I reached for a very nice stiff brush. This is the Sigma Precise Firm Blender E42. And I went into Timeless, which is the black here, very lightly. You don't need much product, and you want to be very firm with your placement and with the brush choice, because you don't really want this going everywhere in the look, or at least that's not how I wanted this look to appear. I just really wanted to darken up that very outer V after I took the time to blend her out as I did. And I'm also going to just take a little bit more, go all along that lower lash line. And then once again, I feel like I'm blown out. That's not how light I am. I need to change that. We're just gonna blend with this brush, the bigger brush. I think it's the EO3, just to make sure that everything looks blended. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on, because now I look somewhat better, but that's still lighter than I actually am. I'll figure it out later. I'm gonna dive into the shade Desire, which is, I believe, the only multi-chrome in this palette. And I'm just gonna use my finger. It is my preference, but feel free to use a brush. And I am just gonna work that all over my eye, all over the lid. And I am going to just tap it over this outer area just to help blend between those tones. And now it should all be blended, and it looks very seamless with that mustard, more or less, because that's the base of that color. Then I'm going to take a pencil brush and I'm going to go into the shade Luxe, which is this beautiful shade right there. And that is going to be my inner corner highlight. And I like to have quite an apparent inner corner highlight. I also like to blend it slightly in the front of my lid and my lower lash line. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So that's pretty much the look. I do need to add mascara, liner, and all of that jazz. And I'm also gonna put on a pair of lashes. I have a pair here, just my normal Egypt XLs from Juvia, or these are just the normal Egypts. So I'm gonna be putting those on really quickly. I'm gonna try to fix the lighting so you can actually see what I look like, because I'm not that light. And then I will wrap up this first look for this 3 looks 1 palette. Alrighty guys, so this is the first finished look. And I'm really liking it. It's simple, but it's a little bit colorful. It's a little bit of intrigue with that multi-chrome on the lid. I added some depth, and I think this is the perfect amount of depth that if it wasn't thunderstorming outside, I could feel very confident leaving the house and not feeling like I'm trying to spook somebody out. So this is the first finished look. I will be doing, of course, 2 more looks, and then at the very end, I will be doing my review of this palette in comparison to all of the other palettes that I have. I will of course be also doing some swatch comparisons that should have already happened. So yeah, let's get into look number 2. Alrighty guys, so we're here for day 2 of this 3 looks 1 palette. As you can see, I already have one eye done, and I'm really excited and happy with how it came out with. It was a little darker than I expected, but I'm not mad. So as I did on day 1, I'm just gonna go ahead and prime with my go-to, which is my About Face primer. I already know this formula, so I don't find that I need to really challenge it with multiple primers. So that's why I'm just kind of sticking with this primer for this video. And as I said yesterday, really make sure to really blend this in thoroughly. Otherwise, it will look crazy. It will definitely look crazy. So make sure there's no chunks. Okay, so this is how it's gonna look. Now let's dive into the palette. So the first shade that I dove into with my Wayne Goss 17 is the shade Classy. It's this beautiful kind of mid-tone brown, and I was pleasantly surprised at the depth that I got from this shade. This is definitely nice and deep. I really, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. Most times when I see shades like that, they're not as deep as I wish for them to be, and they also don't really show up on my skin tone. I'm just gonna run that along my lower lash line as well. And we're just gonna blend just a little bit with this same brush. I'm not needing it to be a perfect blend by any means. It's looking really, really good. And now I'm gonna take an even smaller blending brush. This one happens to be from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. It is their B1. And I'm gonna take a combination of 2 different tone shades, Delicate and Timeless. If you know me, you know that once a black is in a palette, I'm gonna use that black almost every look. And that's pretty much what y'all are gonna get from me in these 3 looks. I love a good black. I love using it to really deepen out the tone. The reason I didn't stick with only Delicate is because Delicate is not deep enough to really show up. So you definitely need to use the black, in my opinion, to really get some good depth. But do know that this black is lethal. So it will kind of overtake a look if you allow it to. With a super, super fluffy brush. This one happens to be from Singe again, and that's their EO3. I'm gonna go into the shade Neutrals, which is a beautiful, like, yellow-based brown. I love those tones, and you'll see why in just a second. And we're just gonna fluff her in this inner corner. As you can see, she's pretty much blends into my skin tone. It's such a beautiful tone of color, and I'm actually gonna use that to help blend out the edge of this look. Now, as you can see, like I said, that black really took over this look. I don't mind it in the ultimate, but just know that some blacks are like that, and this one definitely is. Now, for my lid, I'm going to be using the shade Glamorous, which is this beautiful kind of shimmery light brown. Once again, I'm just going to use my finger. It is my preferred method. Use whatever your preferred method is. And I'm just going to get her all over my lid and slightly blend her into the crease and over that black. And to make sure that it blended with the black well, I'm just going to take whatever is on the brush, no additional product, and just blend in a little bit. And that just helps to seamlessly make that nice. Last step, and then we're done. I'm going to take a pencil brush and we're going to go into the shade Radiant, which is right in this corner. It's a beautiful kind of duochrome white. And we're going to blend that in my tear duct area, a little bit on my upper lid, and a little bit on this lower lash line. And that's it. That's it. Quick, beautiful, but this is like a nice kind of quick smoky eye that really works for the night. And I love how it really plays off of the other colors that are going on my face. Really nice and chic. If I was ever going on like a black carpet event or a red carpet event, that I would wear something like this. So anyways, let me go ahead and finish up my eyes so you guys can see the full finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. And yeah, this is the second finished look. This is definitely a lot darker than I would have thought that this palette really could go. So I'm really happy that I was able to show it to you guys. I think tomorrow's look is definitely going to be playing with some of these purples and really pulling those out to the fullest potential. And yeah, I'm really excited and happy that I was able to pick this palette up and showcase it for you guys. Like I said, one more look and then one more sit down where I'll be talking to you guys about my full thoughts when it comes to this palette. So let's just go ahead and dive into the third look. Okay guys, first and foremost, I'm so sorry for the sound. I'm really sorry. I hope that this microphone is doing a better job of blocking out my washing machine than I am. I'm prepping to leave for this weekend and I've got to do some filming right now, along with I really like to come back at least with clean items, even if they're not kind of put where they need to go. Anyways, tangent over with. This is going to be my third and final look for this 3 Looks 1 palette. I'm so excited to show you guys. Let's just dive on in. Of course, the first things first, we're going to put that eyeshadow primer on. This is my About Face eyeshadow primer. Okay, eyeshadow primer down. Oh my gosh, now the AC is turning on. Everybody's trying to revolt on me right now. Anyways, we're gonna keep going. Eyeshadow primer fully blended out. I'm gonna go into the shade Lust, which is the darkest kind of true purple. And I'm going to use a stiff brush. This is the Blend Bunny's B1 brush. And what I'm gonna do is just really press this shade exactly where I want it. In the eyeshadow look. I really like this kind of half angled wing thing that I've been doing lately. I don't know, I just think that it really works with my eye shape. As you can see, I'm also taking Lust under my lower lash line, and I'm gonna just start with this particular brush and just slowly blend out Lust now in its current state with the primer that I have. I don't mind if this shade goes in deeper than where I stopped. It's just more about the angle of the shape. Okay, so the blending isn't the best, but I will probably fine tune it as I always do. I'm gonna take a fluffier blending brush and I'm gonna go into Rumor, which is the lighter shade at the very front of that row. And just kind of really set, if we're being honest, set the front of that crease and then slightly blend Lust out with this shade. I'm not really looking for anything to be overly blended at all. I just want a little softness to those edges. That's pretty much it. I don't do too much, not with this particular look. Then I'm gonna take my finger per usual and I'm gonna go into the shade Velvet. Yes, I have on nails right now, but I still find that just applying shimmers with my finger is just my preferred method. Okay, we're almost done. Pencil brush, and I'm going into Satin, which is like a light pinky color. All right, and then last for this, I'm gonna take a very firm blending brush. This is the Precision Firm Blender from Sigma. They're E42, and I'm gonna go into the black, and I'm just going to put just a little bit of black right in this outer corner. It's not gonna move too much higher than this. And I am gonna add just a small layer on that lower lash line. Okay, pretty much done. All I gotta do is hop off camera, put on my liner, my mascara, and I'll be good to show you guys the finished third look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look, and I must say, I find that it looks really pretty. It looks so pretty. You guys know I love my purples. Let's get a close look real quick. All right, so let's talk about this palette. We've already done the swatches, we've already done the comparisons, and now we've done 3 looks. And what I will say is that I find this to be right on par with the rest of their palettes, which I really appreciate. I love when a brand doesn't really change their formula at all, even though they changed the color that they're presenting their formula in. That way you know, if you like the brand, what you're getting immediately, as long as you are vibing with the color scheme. And I must say, from just the stills, I don't think, at least I was not able to detect how purple you could really go in this palette. And I found that this pretty much looks like a straight up purple eyeshadow look. Like I could have used the Natasha Denona like Lila palette for something like this quantity or saturation of purple, and that's truly not what I was expecting. So this gave me a lot of a kind of very pleasant surprise, and I always find that people love purples on me, so this is like another neutral that used to be a neutral for me, and it can kind of fluctuate depending on how I'm feeling for it to feel like a neutral. I feel like today it does truly feel very kind of skin native, very neutral on my complexion with a lot of these other tones. Now there are definitely shades that I didn't really touch because they're not my vibes. These cooler tones, not my vibes at all. I really love this palette for the warm browns, the very interesting textures. You have quite a few different textures when it comes to the shimmers, which once again, I really like. I like where you have not only different colors, but different textures to add elements to your look that just look different, if we're being honest. I really like this palette, I really do, and I kind of had a feeling I would, which is why I went ahead and splurged. I went ahead and splurged on a lot this month, and I'll be slowly showing you guys. I have 2 packages sitting on my desk right now, and I feel like even though, yes, I bought a lot of stuff, I feel as though I was smart in what I chose to pick up, and that they will all be good gems for me to add to my collection. So that's pretty much it. If you're asking, is this getting my stamp of approval? It does. I do genuinely enjoy this palette. I enjoy the variety of colors that I am able to use and the different types of looks I was able to use. I hope that my 3 looks today really gave you a wide range of like what you can potentially get out of this palette. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and shout them out down below. I do recommend using a coupon code if you are going to pick this up. I don't personally have one, but many influencers do. So please, please, please get that coupon code. Save yourself some coin, especially because their shipping from the UK is not cheap to the United States. But with that said, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.